Hi guys, welcome back. So now that you have your MIDI controllers, that I've introduced you to the MIDI controller, we talked about it, you know how it works, you have your hands on it, you're at your desk, you're ready to go, so let's go, all right? Before we use the MIDI controllers though, I do want to do a quick, because remember, this is about learning how to use MIDI in several different ways, right? So here in this section right here, all we did is we drew in the 4 on the floor groove, right? Or the drum beat using MIDI and the pencil tool. Now let's talk about typing MIDI. Okay, we're not going to do a whole 4 on the floor typing MIDI. We're going to do half type and then half MIDI controller. All right. So what we want to do first is you want to make sure you click on Logic, make sure Logic is selected. You want to hold Command and you're going to tap the letter K one time like this. Boom. Now you're going to get a visual representation of your keyboard. All right. Now see how A, W, S, E, D, F. Okay, so watch what happens when I hit those on my keyboard. See, now I can hear the MIDI. You don't want to press the letter R because the letter R is the shortcut for record. You know this by now, right? But what we're going to do is we're going to try to see if we can just do the kick, the 4 on the floor kick using the MIDI type. So I'm going to click right here on my MIDI region. And we have to find that kick. So if I go right here to this this MIDI right here and I click on it, it shows me that it's this key right here, right? Now we have to find that kick. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go up here. You can click on it too. Let's see. Oh. All right, so you see how there's nothing here? We have to change the octave. Okay, so the way you change the octave is by grabbing this. See this right here, the keyboard, this blue area. You want to grab it and you want to click and hold and you want to just literally one click to the left. See how it kind of like it locks in? So let's go one to the left and let's try it again, starting with A. That's not our kick though, because look, if you look down here on the keyboard, you'll see that when I hit A, the C1 is the one that lights up. Watch, look. See, you get that dot. We're looking for this one right here, which is this key. So let's see if we can find it. Remember, don't hit R. Oh, look, and there it is. See right here? See where the black dot is lighting up? See that? So it's F. F. And then if we click here, it's F. Okay, so let's close the piano roll. Click right here. And now we're going to make sure, okay, so if your cycle bar is here in measure 1, we're going to highlight measure 2 only. So measure 2. And we're going to try to do that 4 on the floor, just the 4 on the floor kick with a type. All right. And it's the letter F. Right. So again, remember that if we go back to this octave, see how the sounds run out, just change the octave. So click and hold right here. I'm just reviewing. We're going to go one click to the left. And now look, there we go. That's the same kick. We need to have the same exact kick. If you didn't use the same exact kick as me, find the one that you used and it has to match. All right. So now what we're going to do is we have measure 2 completely highlighted. We're going to hit record and then we're going to record the 4 on the floor kick, which is all 4 beats. Right. So remember, the letter R is the shortcut for record. Now, when you hit R, it's going to play this first measure. Okay. Anytime that you hit R or you hit record, Logic is going to give you a pre-roll. We're going to talk a little bit more about adjusting pre-rolls and all that, but for right now, we're focusing on MIDI, right? So watch what happens when I hit record. Look what happens to the playhead. See how it goes back to measure 1 because it gives you one measure of pre-roll. That means one measure before you start recording is when Logic plays. So we're going to hit record, letter R, and then we're going to hit F when it comes to measure 2, right? We're going to do a 4 on the floor, which is all 4 beats. Here we go. Let's take a look. See that? That was tricky. That was very tricky. What we're going to do is we're going to click on this and we're going to delete it, right? Now, how are you supposed to know what beat you're supposed to be on if there's no click, right? So we need to turn the click on. Here's the click or the metronome, and the shortcut is the letter K, right? You can't, but if you hit K when this is on, then it's going to play whatever sound is on K, all right? So let's turn on the metronome. We're going to hit record this time, and we're going to type it in again. Here we go. You see that? Now, this isn't the best way to record MIDI, okay? This is if you don't have a MIDI controller, or you don't, if you don't have a MIDI controller and you don't feel like using the pencil tool, you can use this type, okay? But then look what happens. This is a new thing you're gonna learn right now. So we're gonna, this is the region that we just typed in. We're gonna double click on that. Okay, that's gonna bring up your piano roll. And I'm gonna introduce you to something brand new. So please pay attention here. We're gonna get rid of the type keyboard. You can either go right here and you can close it that way, or you can press Command and the letter K, and that's going to get rid of the type. Now, did I record that perfectly in time? Here's the answer to your question. The answer is no, right? Because let's look at this. Here's measure 2 right here. Look at where this MIDI note is. See how this MIDI note is not on measure 2? So same thing. Beat 2, it's off. Beat 3, the note is off. And beat 4, the note is off. That leads me to the next thing that you're going to be learning about, and that is called quantization. There are a couple ways to lock in these kick drums, okay? But before we do that, I want to listen. So let's go to measure 1, and let's set a loop from measure 1 to measure 3, which means 2 bars, right? Here's bar 1, and here's bar 2. Watch what happens. Bar 1 is perfectly in time, right? Because we drew that one in. And then this one is not perfectly in time. Logic doesn't automatically do that for you. So let's hit play. See how that one's off? Now, I have my click off because I don't want it to mess the video up. Sometimes Logic acts kind of crazy with the video software. So you should have your click on. And you'll notice that when you went from when it got into measure 2, that kick is way off. So there's a couple ways to lock this in. Here's the first way to lock it in. Okay, we're going to manually lock this in. And we're going to do it this way. So we're going to go to note number 1, which is measure 2 right here. Right? We're going to take this note and we're going to drag it to the left closer to the downbeat. Look what happens at that green line. See how it snaps in and we let it go? Now, let's go back and let's set our loop just for measure 2. Now you see this is the downbeat. This green line is the downbeat. And notice that now this note is perfectly on the downbeat. Okay, so let's do the same thing for beat 2. See how it just snaps in? And now look, the line is perfect. We go to beat 3. Line's perfect right there. And this one, beat 4, was way off. Way off. Okay, so we're going to click on it, drag it to the left, and then boom. See the white line? It's perfectly on measure 2, beat 4. Now if we hit play, look what happens. Now it's perfectly in time. So let's do this. Let's set a loop bar from 1 to the end of 2. That's bars 1 and 2. And let's play it together and see if it falls out of beat again. See, that's perfect. So that's one way to quantize your MIDI. Okay, the other way is like this. So here's another thing that you're going to learn right now. We just locked in all 4 of these notes. The way that you undo something in Logic or anywhere on the Mac is by holding Command and tap the letter Z 1 time. So look what happens. We did 4 changes and we're going to tap it 4 times. Look at these MIDI notes. Each time I hit Z, here's 1. See how it goes back to where it was? 2, that one, 3, and 4. Okay, so that's one way to quantize MIDI. There is an easier and faster way to do that. And we're going to do that right now. So here we got 1, 2, 3, 4 MIDI notes. I'm going to click right here, click and hold, and then I'm going to drag this across. See that? Then I'm going to drag down, and that's going to select all of the MIDI notes. Another thing you can do is just simply hold Command, tap the letter A, and that's going to select all. So once you do this, once you have all the notes selected, you can go up here to where it says 1/16th note, click on that, and you know what this is, right? See these? These are note values. We talked about this ad nauseum. There's a tutorial on it. If you haven't watched it, you definitely need to go back, okay? So we are looking for, there's two ways we could do this. We could do this as an 8th note, or we could do this as a 16th. In this case, we're going to go up to where it says 8th note, and we're going to click on this, and let's see what happens. Let's see what happens right here in the MIDI notes. So go up to 1/8, click that. Boom. See? Now everything's in time. Downbeat, beat 2, beat 3, beat 4. Now let's hit play again from measure. Let's just loop measure 2. So let's go up here. Let's loop measure 2 and let's listen. See that? That's perfectly in time. So you just quantized your kick. This is something that's going to be very important for you to master, quantizing, because when you're using a MIDI controller, you're not going to hit everything perfectly on time. You're going to need to know how to do this. All right. So anyway, guys, look, I just introduced you to a couple things, and I want to make sure that you soak this into your brain. So I'm going to stop the video right here. And when we come back, we're going to pick right back up on measure 2 with the 4 on the floor, except this time we're going to use the MIDI controller. See you on the next video.